Hello, and welcome to the U Hour, brought to you by the University of Miami's Division of Continuing and International Education. I'm your host, Marie Sarkeesian, and we have Florence Perotti, who is our producer and will be on the computer today. The U Hour is a one-hour show designed to inform you about the credit and non-credit educational programs offered to you by the University of Miami. You can find all of our programs on our website, www.educationmiami.com. If you are interested in attending the university to learn about a summer program to get more college experience, the University of Miami has a lot to offer you. Today, we have with us Dana Render, who is the director of the Summer Scholar Programs. Dana, would you like to introduce the rest of the guests you brought here today?
Yes, thank you, Marie. Thank you for joining us today. I'm so excited that everyone can tune in. Today we have Margarita Kruiff, who is a former summer scholar. She's also a UM student, and she's also a former staff member of mine. We have Dr. Paul Lazarus, who is a professor with our School of Communication, and then we have Jasmine Morgan, who is an assistant director for the Office of Admission.
Thank you, and thank you all for coming today. Let's start out by just introducing what the Summer Scholar Program is.
Well, the Summer Scholar Program is a pre-college experience. It is 3 weeks in length, and it is an opportunity for high school students who are current sophomores or juniors to learn a little bit more about what college has to offer. It can mimic maybe around the first semester of freshman year for a student. And we have 13 different program availability options, including broadcast journalism, business, engineering, we have filmmaking, forensics, French, Spanish, health and medicine areas, international relations, marine science, sport administration, sports medicine, and writer symposium.
Excellent. How old is this program, and what are some of the older programs versus what are some of the newer programs?
Okay. Well, Summer Scholars has been around since 1989, and it was started with marine science. And some other programs that began after that was filmmaking, and Dr. Lazarus worked with that program, and also health and medicine areas. The newer programs that came after a few years would be the forensics area, sport administration, also broadcast journalism, writer symposium, and the newest programs are business, French, and Spanish.
Excellent. Why was Summer Scholar Program started, and maybe could one of you touch on why the different programs, the specific programs, why were they built on at one after another?
Okay. Well, the Summer Scholar programs were started to give students just an idea of what college would be like. You have a lot of students who say, well, I want to be a doctor, or I want to be a marine biologist, and they don't really understand what the undergraduate education includes to get to that point. So that's why we started the program, and also it's an interesting thing to do in the summer. Most colleges and universities have programs similar to Summer Scholar. We create new programming in order to address different areas that we have at the school. So we know that students come to the University of Miami to study various areas, and so we would love to have Summer Scholar programs that address these areas for them so that we can continue with our mission to help students to be more informed about their academic choices.
Mm-hmm. How did it start with marine science? I noticed you said that was the first one.
Yes, marine science started mainly because we have Virginia Key, which houses the Rosenstiel School of Marine and Atmospheric Science. So it was a natural draw to have a program addressing marine studies, atmospheric studies.
Excellent.
And so the other programs come about in the same way. Well, students want to study this, they study this as undergraduates, so they probably want to look at it as a high school student.
Is that the same for film studies?
It is. Well, ours is motion picture production and studies. From a professorial standpoint, we give grades. So not only are students getting an exposure to college life, they're getting 6 credits. And those are transferable like AP credits for a high school student when they enroll in a college. They start with these 6 credits.
Mm-hmm. Now, is it only University of Miami professors that teach these programs?
It's University of Miami professors, and if we have a certain area like marine science where we have multiple professors teaching, sometimes we will include PhD students in the graduate level, and then they are also led by a full-time faculty member. But all of our other programs are led by faculty members, and they teach, which is one of the unique features of our program. You know, we don't hire outside people from companies to come teach the programs. We use our resources that we have here on campus.
Excellent. Are there also TAs?
Yes. We have teaching assistants in many of the classes, marine science and engineering, because those are some of the some very challenging to do in 3 weeks. And so we have teaching assistants to help the students do some extra study sessions if need be. I also hire what's called community assistants, and community assistants live in the halls. They also are mentors. They come to class with the students and they help the professors if they need anything additional. Specifically for film, we have students who help them with editing their films and helping them to navigate the equipment that we have in there. Dr. Lazarus, you have usually, I know you work with the lecture morning class, but we also have the afternoon class where
the TAs in motion pictures are picked because of their familiarity with the equipment. For many of these students, it's a first time through, and as Dana says, 3 weeks goes by in a heartbeat. But my course will have 2 exams. So the TAs will also study with the students prior to the exam. It is a college experience. They're taking college level exams, not high school exams, and of course we'd like them to do well. So we will do everything we can to prepare them for that experience.
Margarita, what was the teacher professor that you had, and did you have any TAs?
I had a TA for one of the classes that I was taking, and I actually ended up TAing that class now as a graduate student. And the TA actually helped us a lot. One of the courses that I took when I was a student was in marine science, writing lab reports, and it was very useful because now I was able to apply it not only as a student, as an undergrad, but also as a TA for the same class. I was able to help instruct the students in the same way that I was instructed during the Summer Scholars Program.
Excellent. Dr. Lazarus, I'm sure you could explain a little bit about how the faculty members interact with the students, both in the program and then maybe beyond the program.
Well, in the program, it is summer, it is informal. I have offered students for years the opportunity to call me Paul. They get very uncomfortable with that and want to call me Professor or Dr. Lazarus. It doesn't really matter. But our job is they've chosen college level courses, is to expose them as we would our freshmen or sophomores to this exciting medium. They've grown up with film, they love and adore film, and in most instances it's not offered at the college level. So they come here, I expose them to some foreign films. They usually see whatever plays in their theater on Friday. They'll see an Asian film with me, they'll see an Indian film, and it's a broadening kind of experience. In the afternoon, as Dana was suggesting, they will actually make a film. And they'll put recorded music behind it. They'll be their own actors and directors. They'll edit it. And at the end of the experience, we'll put it up in the big screen at the Cosford Cinema. And the students and parents and representatives will all come and marvel at the creativity of these students. It's a thrilling sight.
Now, are you spending all day with them
I spend the morning class, what is it, 2.5 hours.
8:30 to 11:30.
Yeah, and then we have a separate professor who, after their lunch, who will work with them in the afternoon. And traditionally, the marine science and the pre-med students say, oh, well, it's just a piece of cake for you people in film, it's easy. Then they see as it moves toward the end of 3 weeks, and they have to have finished a film, edit it, have it make sense, and then put it up on the big screen, suddenly they're pulling the all-nighters and marine science are out playing.
That's not true. But I have seen actually in my film, my friends that are taking film now as undergrads, that they have the exact same experience, that they spend a lot of time editing these films.
Sure.
So it's very realistic, I believe.
Yeah, it's exciting, and you actually realize a finished film at the end of that course, and at the end of my course you're getting 3 credits comparable to what I teach in my intro course a survey of motion pictures.
And I will say that all of the programs that we offer are designed to be hands-on. The students are in class with other summer scholars, so we don't throw them into class with other undergraduate students, so it's not overwhelming for them. And we do that also because it will allow the professors to bring in more things for them to be hands-on. You know, more guest speakers, field trips, labs. You know, Dr. Lazar, she do the Barbarossa log. You know, you go through that film, and it allows for more creativity instead of just having to get through a 6-week amount of coursework that they would normally do in a summer course. So all of the programs do have the do lend well to being hands-on, like marine science, and the students really enjoy that particular aspect. It makes it more fun, even though they're learning. So that's what we like to.
When summer scholar students aren't in class, are TAs or professors available through email or phone, or do they have office hours, or do students just walk up and say hi, or what's the schedule like the rest of the day?
I'm in touch by email and cell phone all the time, and I will get calls. What did I think of this film? Or, gee, we have a test tomorrow, I didn't understand this. So there is as much accessibility as we can possibly provide. It's their summer, and we want them to have the best time possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that when I had a class that required a TA because it was a very difficult course, the TA was in the library with us until the very early hours of the next morning, working on whatever lab reports that we had. And if anything, the community assistants, for the most part, have some sort of experience in the area that they're helping with. And so, if anything, there's that backup, because I was a marine science community assistant, and I was obviously a marine science undergrad, so I had that experience to help the students if they did not have the access to a TA, but normally they were available.
Mm-hmm. Do UM professors usually give recommendations to students that graduate from the Summer Scholar program?
I have always volunteered to write recommendations for my class, and I get probably 50% of the students. They don't have to matriculate here. I've said, you know, you've taken a course with me, I'm very happy to write a recommendation. In several instances with our own admissions policy, which I don't have anything to do with, I have red flagged our outstanding students so that the admissions people at the university know that a senior professor has had experience with them and they have really distinguished themselves. And I am told that that stands out on an application form because they've taken a course from our faculty and done well.
Mm. Now, Jasmine, I know from speaking with you previously that you've had some interesting experiences with applications and recommendations and maybe multiple recommendations coming in. Yeah. Does the number of recommendations that you get have anything to do with your application?
Well, I do encourage students to really, follow the guidelines that have been set forth on the application. We've had some students, and it's not even sometimes the student's fault, but I always make sure to tell them, be sure that you read over your applications. One instance I had, or not even just one, it's happened a couple of times, you'll have students turn in letters of recommendation or even essays, and it's like, oh, I really want to be a part of the University of Florida. And they're applying to the University of Miami, and I'm reading that, and it's just, it is a simple mistake, but you definitely want to be sure that you're reading over every part of your application, and even just kind of encourage your professor or teacher or anyone to be sure that they know exactly where the application is going. So.
And after, say, summer scholar or even college, do you still keep in touch with some of your former students?
Oh, yes. It's unavoidable. As they progress into, especially the business world, they have questions. We at Communication teach both theory and practice. So the theory they hopefully take with them, but there are faculty like myself who come out of Hollywood, have produced 6 motion pictures, run 3 studios. So I will get questions. Should I have said this? What should I do here? I have the rights to this story. Do I just give it to them? How do I get an agent? There's a wide variety. Now, sometimes the summer scholar students will ask those questions, but they're years from having to go out and earn a living. One of the things we try to impress upon parents is this is a wonderful preparation if their students are considering motion pictures. And it has so many facets, from the business end to the, quote, creative end, either to direct or to act or to produce or to do something related to the movie you see in the theater. So my course, A Survey of Motion Pictures, will cover all that and will lay out for them what lies ahead. It's a much broader vista than most students see. I mean, something like today, product placement. I don't see a product on the table, but if this were a bottled glass of water, they would have paid so that the label faces the camera, and some sponsor would have had that done. Well, there are people who do that for a living. It may not be your idea of the most creative job in the world, but for a lot of people, it's another sales job. And things like motion pictures that are multi-billion-dollar industries will be much broader in terms of its job possibilities than many parents and indeed many students would think of.
And I would like to say that the knowledge that all the professors bring for each one of our programs is so overwhelming. All the students should really take time to pick the brains of all their professors for all of their programs, because they know these things. They know what the industries are like. They know what prospects for jobs are like. They know the types of things that students should be doing now so that they can set themselves up after graduation to either go on to grad school or to pursue avenues in the working world. And that's why we have the full-time professors working with these particular programs, because they just have so much knowledge about the industry themselves. And all the programs will lend themselves to that, but the students really have to take advantage of it. We want the students to come, and we want them to do well in their class, we want them to have a good time, but we also want them to use the knowledge of their professors, their TAs, their community assistants, to learn about the process of the undergraduate stance and also moving on beyond that.
We had a nice payoff to that. I take 20 film students to UCLA over the summer to mix it up with Hollywood practitioners. And one of our speakers this year was a former summer scholar. He was a junior in high school when he came here. He matriculated at Miami, went through 4 years in the motion picture program. He's been in Hollywood 4 years, and he's now the vice president of Summit Entertainment, which is the company that did Twilight and Hurt Locker and some big films. And he used the summer scholar experience and his motion picture major to springboard his career. And I used him as a lecturer for my class last summer. It was sort of all the way around the circle. It was wonderful.
Absolutely. Florence, do we have a question from the chat room?
Yes, we do. And they're asking about the program, and that they see that it's a 3-week program, and it seems like a lot of material to cover in 3 weeks, especially 6 credits. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, that was, in a way, is what I was kind of explaining earlier, that we put the students in class with their peers. We do not put them in class with other undergraduate students. And that's because it can be an overwhelming experience to come to school for 3 weeks and take 6 credits worth of work. The professors are able to modify existing courses so that they are digestible within 3 weeks. So this is very doable. We've been doing this program for more than 20 years now. So it's something that students usually do well in. But I will say that students do get grades. It is on their UM transcript, so they need to come prepared to do well. With that said, a student who wants to do this type of program should be a student who's very academically inclined, and that they want to challenge themselves. They're taking their accelerated or honors or gifted or even AP or in the IB program. Students who want to study in the summer. This is not an opportunity for them to come and lay on the beach for 3 weeks. They're going to have to work for it. So we want them to understand that it will be fun. There's a lot of excellent activities, but they really need to come prepared to work. And the professors and the TAs and CAs are all there to make sure that they are successful. That's why we front load them with a lot of resources so that they can get through the 3 weeks.
We will have students who simply don't know how to take notes, and I will stop and help them on that. I mean, I don't know. It's a long time since I went to high school, but I don't know exactly what they are trained in when they are taking a lecture class. But this is college level material, and I want to be sure they know how to encapsulate it and give it back and think and use it to build their own thoughts. And I don't take that for granted. And one of the joys of teaching high school students is it is a clean slate, and you can prepare them to go forward in what will one day be, I hope, successful college careers, and begins here.
Thank you.
With that being said, though, as a former student, I noticed that I was able to get all the work done. It did involve some days of sacrifice, but I was still able to go to the gym or hang out with some friends and socialize, but at the same time still get a good grade and come out with the program very happy.
It is a beautiful campus. It does have a great wellness center, a great gym, a great swimming pool, tennis courts. It has the full body of stuff, but as the 3 weeks begin to wind to a close, most of the students are really bearing down to get it done.
So summer scholar students have access to everything that a normal UM student would have access to?
Yes.
Excellent. Are there any other benefits to attending a summer scholar program besides the 6 credits and the experience and the wellness centers and other activities that you get from just being on campus?
Well, the students, one, learn a little bit more about time management because mom and dad are not around to remind them to do their homework or, just prompt them or are there as a fallback. They have to rely on themselves. So it does promote a lot more autonomy and independence. It also promotes students just to learn a little bit more about relating to other students, other people who are different than them. Sometimes people live in communities where everyone is like themselves. So our program includes students from all over the world, different states within the U.S. We have a representation of about 26 different states usually, including Florida. So they meet a good amount of different people. So they learn, and some students even learn how to do their laundry. I've had parents who've called me and asked if someone will help them do their laundry, and my answer is no. They will not help you do your laundry, but they will show you where the laundry room is. They'll give you some tips, but you will have to do your own laundry. And I mean, some students come back home and that's a big accomplishment because they've never done it before. And I get emails from parents all the time saying my child came home and they were just so much more focused to get ready for college. It really gave them a jump start to get their applications ready because many of them who are rising seniors are starting to do the application process once they leave the program. And I know also for admissions wise, you probably see a lot more students who are more prepared.
And just to kind of jump into what Dana just said, it shows that the student has a lot more exposure. You find a lot of, just from the application or the admission standpoint, students who are applying to UM specifically and have been exposed to a lot of different things seem to be more of the stronger applicants because they have really prepared themselves for a college curriculum, have really kind of gone above and beyond of what is just required of them by kind of making sure that they have exposure to these other activities, obtaining outside college credit and things of that nature, and it just makes them look definitely better on their application.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm assuming it's definitely something good to put on your application when applying to colleges.
It certainly is, although I don't want to confuse that with the fact that sometimes students come out and think that by attending the UM Summer Scholars Program, it guarantees admission into the University of Miami. However, it does show that the applicant has really put themselves, again, above and beyond than what is really called for, and it makes them look much better on the application. Mm-hmm. It is included with, what we call their extracurricular activities. A lot of people tend to believe extracurricular only means a sport, a club, organization, but we actually look at community service, other things that you've participated outside of school, maybe a faith-based organization. All of these things are looked upon in the application review process, including summer scholars programs, and it only makes the student look more in a positive view.
I think parents should know we have a major hospital just across the street. It comes to mind because the young man who's now vice president of Summit is, like I am, a type 1 diabetic. We require insulin injections several times a day. It was the first time this young man had been away from home, and he had a diabetic low, and I wasn't with him at night. I could help him during the day, but all of that was comfortably attended to. His TA got him to the emergency room, and if you know about diabetes, a little orange juice, and he was fine. Well, henceforth, he had carbohydrates in his room, and it was all taken care of. But I think you'll find from TAs to staff to professors, we're all conscious of that. And for many of these people, it is their first time away from their parents, and I think they're in very good hands. I was a master of a residential college here for 5 years, and I would always have parents talk to me about their freshmen as they come in. Well, who will and how will? And this is a very, very good university for that, and Summer Scholar bends over backwards to take care of these students.
Margarita, as a former Summer Scholar to now UM student, did you find that doing the Summer Scholar program allowed you to transition into a college environment easier?
Yeah, definitely. I was about to mention that. It actually was a huge wake-up call sharing a room with a person for the first time. And this girl...
I hesitate to ask who you shared it with before, not a person.
I've never shared a room with anybody in my life. But this was the first time that I was sharing a room with somebody, and the girl that I was sharing the room with and I had completely different schedules. I'm a person that likes to do things at night, study at night, all of these things, and she lights out really early. I actually met my freshman year roommate through Summer Scholars. It was a girl that was in my marine science program, and I actually she would sympathize with me over the fact that my roommate would go to bed early. And so we actually decided to go to UM together, and we ended up being freshman year roommates, and it was a lot easier for us because we both had this experience, and we knew what things we had to keep in mind when sharing a room with somebody else.
Florence, do we have another question?
We do. The question that came in is about the credits that they receive through the Summer Scholar program, and whether or not they're transferable if their son goes to another university.
Okay. The credits that students receive for Summer Scholar are regular credits. Most likely they are looked at as general elective credit. For Dr. Lasseter's class, you use 2 of the intro courses that students who are going to do motion pictures would need to take, correct?
Mm-hmm. They will get full credit for it if they matriculate here.
And other programs, just depending on what they end up doing, will most likely count as general elective, because sometimes we have students who don't do the academic program that they decided to do in Summer Scholar. Like, they may have done engineering in Summer Scholar, but then they decided to do business. Well, engineering credits aren't going to count for graduation for a business program, but it still counts for GPA. So a student needs to do very well. It still counts toward their classification standing of freshman, sophomore, junior. And also, if they want to go, let's say they go to another school, they would request a transcript from the University of Miami and have it sent to the registrar's office at the schools to where they're going to attend. And it is up to that school to apply the credits. And I strongly encourage that Summer Scholar students who are coming here for Summer Scholar, but they are also considering other schools, to check the transfer credit policy at the schools to which they're going to apply, because it's going to vary across the board, and we don't have a say on how another school can apply the credit.
Most cases, they will take anything that's a C or higher. Mm-hmm. And the students are told that up front, and in general, our Summer Scholar students are way better than C students. They wouldn't be here if they weren't. So it's not generally an issue, but they are told, it isn't just pass-fail. If you're looking to be able to transfer these credits, and you should be, whether it's to here or any place else, be sure you get that minimum C grade.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Do freshman applicants usually seem more mature or transition better into a college environment because of being from a summer program like Summer Scholars?
Yes, I would say that definitely does happen. Being able to be exposed to any kind of summer program throughout the summer, students who are applying to UM seem to, as I said before, just have like a better fit, because they're more mature. They kind of have had that exposure. They have more of a rigorous course load, because you can see that they want to challenge themselves even more. So these are students oftentimes taking AP courses or perhaps participating in an IB program, and that's what we're looking for when we evaluate students who have taken that higher level courses, and they seem to matriculate much better.
They also will know what humidity means.
Oh yes.
Now, something that I wonder if, putting my mind in the mind of an applicant, is that there are 13 different programs that you can choose from if you become a Summer Scholar. Mm-hmm. And usually I would assume going in you might have an idea about what a program would be like. That changes throughout those 3 weeks when you actually find out what your courses are like and what you're actually learning. Do some students go through the course and then change their mind about what they wanted to do with their life because they had a misconception about what, say, either film studies or marine biology is actually about, and that maybe made them change their major when they applied as a freshman to a college?
I've had students who have done that. Students may send in their application and have an essay and say, oh, I love marine science, I want to train dolphins. Well, you could possibly end up doing that with the rest of your life. However, on the undergraduate level, marine science involves a lot of labs, it involves a lot of chemistry, Margarita will tell you. It's not an easy feat. It is not something that you come into and you just automatically start doing whatever was imagined in your head. Some students realize, oh, this is not the type of subject matter that I thought it was, and that's okay. So if a student comes to the program and they realize that, okay, I enjoyed my experience, but this is not the academic area that I thought I wanted to pursue, that is a good goal. That is a good outcome, because we want the students to be able to make better educated decisions about what they study. I don't want a student to decide, okay, I'm going to go into marine science and I'm going to go to a school that specializes in this area, like the University of Miami, and then once they get through their sophomore year, they realize they don't like it, and their parents have spent a lot of money sending them to school, and they want to change their major, and it may prolong the time that they have in school, or it may prolong, it may leave them confused. So it's better if they know now than when they go to a school and have been there and have to change their major. Not saying that they won't do that later on, even once they get to school, but this is, in a way, an early alert system for them so that they can understand more about these academic disciplines to make better choices. We want them to grow, we want them to be more mature and independent, and with that comes good decision making. So it's good to know before you go in.
Mm-hmm. Have you found that there have been experiences where maybe, say, the first day, a student decided that they wanted to switch disciplines between one and another because after the first class they thought that they had made a poor choice?
Now, what we do on the front end for students is we try to give them as much information about the courses as possible, because once they get to campus, usually our classes are pretty set. Unless there is an extenuating circumstance where a student needs to change, they are not usually moved out of this program selection that they've chosen. Now, to help with that, we ask that students pick 2 choices of a program when they send in their application. A first choice and a second choice, and I recommend that both of these choices be of equal interest area. So, don't pick another program just because it's there. Pick 2 programs because you are genuinely interested, and then that way it gives you a focus while you're applying. And let's say you read a little bit more before the summer program actually starts. We can switch you up until the time that the program starts. Once students come to campus, that's their class, because we have our classes set, the materials have already been ordered, and it's only 3 weeks, so they need to stay where they are. But before then, we can switch them around a little bit.
Margarita, out of curiosity, what was your second choice, and were you happy that you got your first choice?
I actually don't remember what my second choice was, to be quite honest. I knew that I wanted to do marine science, and it wasn't really a choice that I made knowing anything about marine science. It just sounded like a good idea to me. I looking at the choices of things that are offered, I don't know what I would have chosen, to be quite honest. Clearly film was my second choice. But I know that it actually helped a lot for me to have come to the program and done marine science. I picked it at random, I'm pretty sure, which I don't advise after what Dana just said, but I picked it, I think, at random just because it sounded like something that I would like to do, and right now I'm doing my master's in marine science. So I think that's not the norm. I know a lot of people, for example, my roommate who did the marine science program came in here as an undergrad doing business. So it doesn't, looking back at the people that I did community assistant for, I know that also like 50-50 chance. Some of them are not marine science, but some of them still are. For me, it was a great choice. I don't know what I picked for my second choice, but I did a great first choice pick. So,
well, I know our marine biology campus is world renowned, so I'm sure that had something to do with that choice. Florence, do we have another question from the chat room?
We do, and it is about the Summer Scholar Program experience. And they want to know if it's like summer camp or do you get a full college experience? You know, how much activities are required, and what are different things that they can do?
Well, I'll comment just on what's required, what's not required, and then someone else can chime in for the actual experience. A summer scholar student, just day to day, you will have class every day, 8:30 to 4:30. And in the evenings, we have activities that are set aside so that you can get to know students in other academic areas, because you spend a fair amount of time with those in your chosen field. On the weekends, we have larger scale activities like going to the beach. We do snorkeling. We've gone to the Everglades. And those are just larger scale activities that do much of the same as the evening. These are optional because you need to be able to make a choice on, am I going to study for my test? Am I going to work on my research paper, or am I going to go to the beach today? So we have options available so that students can do other things, because if they're residential, they're not allowed to have cars. But if they choose not to, it's up to them. We're not going to pull their leg to participate in fun activities. It is very much up to the students on how they make this experience. It's not meant to be a camp. We're not here to babysit, but we want to make sure that there's plenty of things to do while a student is here.
And I think that as a former student, it's very much like a college experience. I mean, you go to class during the day, and then in the afternoon, it's really up to you what it is that you get to do. And, in terms of not being able to get off campus, it's really like a freshman year experience, I think. Once you get older, it just becomes more your life interjected with class. And the only other difference is also that your class schedule is already set, and when you come here, your class schedule, you pick it. But in terms of being a college experience, I think it's more of a college experience than a summer camp. On the weekends, it's a normal weekend as if you were in college, so.
Did you find yourself doing more of the voluntary activities, or staying back and studying, or writing?
I think I focused a lot on my schoolwork during the week. I figured that was my time to actually get things done. And the way that the marine science program was structured when I came here was each week was a different class experience. So for me, each week, during the week, I really focused on my schoolwork, but then on the weekends, I would go out, and I know I went to one of the baseball games. I definitely went on the snorkeling trip. I went to the Everglades as well. And these are things that I've had the experience to do here as a student as well. So I definitely picked a lot of the voluntary activities, and I know a lot of people were struggling to sign up and make sure that they actually were getting on these trips because they were very coveted. But I chose to do it. I don't know a lot of people that didn't.
Are there some activities that are centered more towards specific programs, or are they just kind of general activities that any summer scholar can do?
They're programs that any summer scholar can do. They're going to have plenty of things to do within their academic area. So we want to be able to offer after class just fun activities or educational activities. Remember one year we had a Latin dance experience where one of our community assistants actually taught some Latin dancing for the students. So it's really a way for them to interact with others. It's a way for them to build a community. That's why I hire community assistants. They're there to build a living community for the 3 weeks so that they get to know other people and make connections. Like Margarita, she made a roommate. And when I first started working here, I had a student email me who came to the program in 1991, and they met their spouse here.
Oh,
they
wow.
ended up getting married, and they had some people from Summer Scholar as friends. They stayed friends throughout, college, and they were in their wedding. So, I'm not saying that we are playing matchmaker, but
Well, that didn't happen during Summer Scholar. No.
no, they didn't get married during Summer Scholar. But I mean, later on in life, after they graduated from college and graduate school and got jobs.
No, but they have, the community assistants are actually encouraged to create a different variety of activities, and each person has different interests. I know that when I was a community assistant, I forced everybody, well, didn't force them, but I pulled a lot of strings to get everybody to go see the Harry Potter movie that premiered while we were doing Summer Scholars, and there's ice cream socials. There's anything from things on campus to really extensive trips on weekends where you can go do a variety of things that are very typical to South Florida.
This is very common at the university because residential colleges serve, other than the commuter community, in just that fashion. They try and create a full experience for the students, and being a master faculty member living in a college for 5 years, then with my wife, my dog, my wolf, and 2 cats, we brought a whole menagerie with us. Most of that time we interacted was spent bringing in speakers, having the ice cream. I'm a member of the Motion Picture Academy, so I would get our screeners and we'd discuss, we'd go to the movies. That kind of full college experience begins really with Summer Scholar.
Exactly. I think that we do a really good job of making sure that our commuter students don't get lost in the crowd, so to speak, and making sure that they're able to participate in a wide variety of student activities, and we offer so many different things to them. So you kind of get that experience as a Summer Scholar student by having all those different activities available to you, and then if you transfer here or matriculate here in the incoming freshman class, it's almost like the same thing going on because you've had the exposure to all those different activities.
It's very interesting you mentioned the commuter student affairs. Recently, just within the past year, we've opened up to have a commuter option. And so all of the commuter students can participate in all the activities just like the residential students. So the only difference is that they don't stay in the halls in the end of the night. They also are even given lunch throughout the week as well. So Monday through Friday, commuter students can go to the dining hall just like the residential students during the lunch period and have lunch on campus if they like. And of course, all the evening activities are open to them, and of course, all the weekend activities are open to them.
Margarita, I have to ask, how did you find out about the Summer Scholar program, and what made you decide to apply and come here?
I think I found out about it from a brochure that I might have received. I have no idea how it got to me. I decided to come to it because I was looking to do something other than just spending a summer at my house not doing anything. And I was looking for something that would give me an edge once I was applying to colleges. I know my school was very big on starting the college process very early. Now I think they're starting around their freshman year, pressuring you to figure out how to get into college. But so I definitely thought that this would be a great opportunity. And I was looking, I come from a very structured, very conservative household, so I was kind of looking to get out of that and see what it would be like to actually be out on my own, doing my own thing. So.
And what was your college application process like once completing Summer Scholar? I'm sure you had other colleges as backups, and I think you were automatically thinking you wanted to go into marine biology or marine science.
Well, for me, actually, and I think I'm a very special case when it comes to actually college admission process. I picked because I came here, I loved it, I knew I wanted to do marine biology, I knew that they were really good at that, and so I just applied to I actually did not apply anywhere. I applied early decision, something that was actually killing me once the process continued because then I had nothing to fall back on if anything went wrong. But I just applied here, and I mean, it was also a temperature climate decision. I mean, I'm from South Florida, so the only other option was going further south in the Florida region, so I came here for all those reasons.
It's 60-something degrees outside right now, and we're all wearing sweaters.
Yes.
That's cold for us.
It is.
One of the aspects of our courses, and I'm sure it's comparable in other programs, when you are getting senior faculty, the agenda may be a little wider than it would be in a high school class. For example, my class, we do spend some time on film regulation, but that segues into the First Amendment. And these students have not thought about freedom of speech, freedom of press, by and large. They may have taken a civics class, but it has been kind of abstract. And as we talk about it, and it's always in the context of today's headlines, light bulbs are going off. They're hearing things beyond what their expectations were. Now, that may not be on the exam, but it is part of, quote, a college experience. And I think it is one of the great benefits of this program, that you're getting tabula rasa. You're getting students without anything written on that slate yet, and you can encourage them to think. And they're a junior in high school. No one did that for me. You have to go out and do it on your own. But we definitely help them to formulate their own thinking.
That whole applied mentality, and they really be able to kind of dibble and dab in the area of interest, really reflects kind of on what UM stands for. We really consider ourselves to be hands-on early on, and so students are really able to just kind of jump right into their area of interest. Some schools, they may actually wait until their junior or senior year to really get a chance to kind of get their hands into whatever it is that they're interested in. But at UM, we can, our students actually start as early as the freshman or sophomore year, and the Summer Scholars Program gives them that access to just kind of really be able to jump into their area of interest.
Back to something Dana said, the diversity, which is so much a part of the University of Miami, many of these students will experience for the first time in Summer Scholar. People from other countries, people of other colors, and so forth. And I watched them acclimate to it, and indeed we saw it with freshmen at the residential college. It's a huge part of this experience. They may come from a very closed environment, and it's so broadening because you make a film and the only cast members are going to be the rest of your students. So suddenly you're all on the same page, working toward a common end and getting to know one another. It's invaluable.
Margarita, could you share on some of your experiences that you had after Summer Scholar, when you applied and got to UM, what you did after that? Because I know you mentioned going back to being a CA for Summer Scholar.
Well, I really missed the experience, and I mean, clearly, since I had already graduated from high school, my only option of getting really involved with it was becoming a community assistant. And I know that actually a lot of the people that were community assistants with me had been alums, and some of them from the year that I did Summer Scholars. So I got involved with that. I don't know what your question really was.
Well,
as opposed to that,
you're still in school, correct?
Yes.
And so you're still pursuing that study of interest.
Oh yeah, I'm doing my master's right now. I was in the 5-year program. It's a 4-year undergraduate marine affairs program. It's like administration and policy and marine science. And then right now I'm finishing my last year. I'm doing my internship phase right now, so I'm done with classes. But I've had a lot of opportunity to actually travel around the world doing my classes. I just took a class in Bimini in December with, if anybody that watches the Discovery Channel Shark Week, the main authority for sharks actually was teaching my class. I don't know, it has been a great experience being here. I've had a lot of exposure to a lot of people. The main guy from aquaculture teaches also one of the classes that I've taken. As an undergraduate, I was taking a lot of graduate courses. There was a lot of opportunity for me to rise above my actual credit level, if you will. And I actually graduated early thanks to the credits that I got from AP courses and the Summer Scholar program. So I've been doing that. I've been involved in a lot of volunteer research, a lot of snorkeling, which I love. I love being in the water. Right now I'm in the Graduate Students Association, which has a senate for each one of the divisions here at the campus. I was involved with the Row, the Marine Science Honor Society. I was in the club. I played for the club volleyball team for a little while. I've been doing a lot of different things. There's actually a lot of opportunities to really find your interests and see what they are. There's a Mexican Students Association as well, and I'm a Mexican citizen. So all of these great opportunities that I've gotten involved with, and I've gotten to know a lot of people through it. So.
It sounds like you got a head start, which is kind of what you were saying about, freshmen being able to come in and just get a jump start. Didn't you tell me just yesterday that the Marine Science School opened up to undergraduate courses as well?
Yes. Initially, with the Rosenstiel School, it was the graduate campus. And just recently, they've integrated for the undergraduate campus to promote more of the hands-on early on that Jasmine was speaking about.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say that actually happened my senior year, and I had the opportunity to either stay in the College of Arts and Sciences or get my degree from the Rosenstiel School, which I decided to do. I thought it was a great idea since it's very well known. So I really appreciated that.
I was just going to say that the majority of their classes are on the Coral Gables campus, but they do, yes, they go to the graduate or the that campus to really do a lot more hands-on work, and students really seem to enjoy that.
Right.
And with that said, with Summer Scholar, they do have access to the Rosenstiel School. They will have some field trips there and classes there. The health and medicine areas, the students will have some classes over at the med school. So they have some exposure in different areas on our campus so that they can see full circle, not just the undergraduate experience, but also some of the graduate areas, because we don't want them just to stop with, okay, I'm going to get a bachelor's. We want them to think beyond, beyond just going to school for the 4 years, because nowadays you usually have to go back to school to get an advanced degree beyond the bachelor's. So we want to give them the exposure so they can start thinking in that direction early on.
And it's a really good experience as well, because the atmosphere is completely different on main campus as it is, and I'm sure in the graduate campuses. So and being familiar with the campus also, this is completely off topic, but being comfortable with the campus when you come in, if you do decide to come, if anybody decides to come here after the Summer Scholars experience, is actually very beneficial, because then you feel a lot more comfortable to actually step out of your shell and get involved with different organizations and do a lot more than you would if you just came in as a freshman completely blind to the experience.
I was just going to mention, because we're talking about different campuses, if someone were listening that has no idea what Miami or the University of Miami is like, we're split out into different areas. When we mentioned the main Coral Gables campus, that's in downtown Coral Gables, but we have the Rosenstiel School, which is not anywhere close by where we are. You have to actually get in a car and do some travel time, and it's the same thing with the Miller School of Medicine. If you're going for the healthcare track.
Which is only downtown, so it takes about 10 minutes to get there. But, I mean, you count in Miami traffic, it'll definitely be a little longer.
Right. So how does, if you're doing different programs, how do the Summer Scholars travel? Or is there activities on the main campus versus Rosenstiel or the Miller School? Or
Well, class-wise, depending on what they've chosen, they may have to go off campus to another area for University of Miami. And that's facilitated by Metrorail, and our community assistants will escort them, or if they're going to the Rosenstiel School, we actually charter transportation for them. So we will chaperone that different transportation, and we will actually get them there. They won't have to worry about that. Even if they're a commuter student, they would come to campus that day, and we would make sure they get to where they need to go.
Which is similar to during the year to get to the Rosenstiel School. They have a bus that takes you, a shuttle that takes you there with no additional cost.
Right. Okay, I was just curious. I was like, wait a minute, how are they traveling?
We make them walk.
It's short, but it's not that short. I want to get into the application process for Summer Scholar a little bit. Dates, times, all that fun stuff. When is the next program starting?
Well, the Summer Scholar program dates for this year are June 26th through July 16th. And we have rolling admission right now, so that means as soon as an application is complete, I will review it and let the student know the decision, and we will do this until May 1st. So we're currently open for accepting applications. A student needs to have at least a 3.0. Most of our students have well above that. And they need to be at least a current sophomore or current junior in high school. We also require an essay and a teacher recommendation, and all of this information is located on the website. And they also have to have an application. We look at the entire application package to actually accept a student. So I will read all of their essays, I will read all of their recommendations, and I will look at all their transcripts to make sure that they would be appropriate for the program. And our application process is pretty much the same as the application process to apply as an undergraduate student. This is for a reason. We want the students to learn more about how to go go about applying to school. They need practice, and this is a wonderful opportunity for them to practice. In fact, one of our essay questions is on the Common Application this year. So it's a good exposure for them to learn what they need to do in order to apply to school.
And how do they apply?
The students can apply online at www.miami.edu/SSP. All the application materials are there. They can download an application and print and send it in all by mail. There's an online submittable form that they can initiate there and then have a teacher send their recommendation and transcript separately, or everything can be together.
And how are students notified when their application has been received, and how are they evaluated, the applications?
Students, we communicate a lot through electronic mail. So if once the student's file is complete, we'll send them an email that their file is complete and we'll be able to review it. Reviewing, we ask between 7 to 10 business days, just depending on how many applications we have at the moment. Right now, it really is looking at the 7 to 8 business days because I have a lot of applications that have been coming in. So start applying now because we review applications until programs are full. So that's really important to know. Don't wait until May 1st. Your program might not be available anymore. When I look at an application, like I said before, I look at every single element. If a student says in their essay that they want to come for 3 weeks and go to the beach, then they might not be a good proponent, a good participant. So don't gloss over the experience, and I want to also make sure that you follow the directions.
And what happens to a student after they've been admitted to the Summer Scholar Program?
Once they've been admitted, I do keep up a fair amount of communication via email. Actually, right about now, we will start sending out listserv messages to students just to get them into things that are going to be going on, to keep them abreast of what's going on with changes to the program, if any, also to let them to answer questions they may have, like spending money. So we do send out regular email communication, usually twice a month until the time the program starts.
Okay. And one of my last questions before I open it up to the chat room is, what happens at the end of the 3 weeks for a student?
At the end of the 3 weeks, we do have a final ceremony where we will show the films, and we invite the parents and family members of the students to watch those films. Also, broadcast journalism, they will have a final project that we show on the big screen as well. We give them certificates of completion, and also we have a slideshow. If you tuned in prior to this starting, you saw some of the program finales that we filmed over the past 3 years. Then after that, we do keep in touch with the students to remind them about how to request a transcript. We do send out an unofficial transcript to the students. I will mail out a grade report, simply because some students don't remember how to log on to the system, the electronic system for themselves. So we will send in a grade report that they must request an official transcript if they want grades applied to another school. So we send out information about that, and we ask them to keep in touch. We ask them if they want to, give comments for a website, or if they want to be in our brochure. And we do mail out brochures to alumni to share with their friends later on. We do visits to the counselors. So we stay in pretty good contact with the students afterward, and we encourage them to do the same.
Great. Florence, do we have any final questions from the chat?
We have a couple. I think we're only going to be able to address just a few of them, actually. A couple of questions from parents. One of them was, when they're considering this program, is it possible to speak with parents of previous Summer Scholar Program students?
I've had students talk to other former students. I haven't had parents who wanted to give their phone information out. I've actually never been asked if they wanted to talk to current students. If we have that question, or if we have that issue, I would be more than happy to try to find a parent that wouldn't mind speaking to them, but typically that's not the case. Most times it's student on student, so I'll have a former student who wants to talk to a current one.
Thank you. A follow-up question, what is the policy for visitors, like parents or family members?
Well, safety is a big concern. We are dealing with minors. Very few students have reached the age of 18 once they come to this program. The residence halls are, except for Eaton, are locked after 10 p.m. Eaton is locked 24 hours a day. Except for move-in day, when parents or relatives are helping getting their student stuff to their rooms, Visitors are not allowed beyond the lobby area of the residence hall. And that's because we need to know that people who are in the residential portion of the residence hall are actual program participants. If students want to visit with family members that may come by and stop by, they're welcome to come by the lobby of the residence hall. They can go to the various vendors on campus to eat. We have a university center that have, fast food and various places there. They can go there, but they're not allowed beyond the lobby.
Thank you. And I'll give you one last question here. Can a student come back for a second summer?
Yes, as long as they haven't graduated from high school. So if they're coming as a sophomore this year, they can come back next summer.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you to everyone from our chat who had a question for us, and thank you all for coming. And thank you for listening to this installment of the U Hour. You can find out more about the Summer Scholar Program on our website, which is miami.edu/SSP, short for Summer Scholar Programs. And thank you all for attending today.
You're welcome.
And remember, it's the U, and it's all about you.